All right, everybody, welcome back here in this Megadeth album review series. And what we're looking at next is not exactly a studio album, more of a compilation that has a lot of tracks from, I believe all of them. Yeah, all of them come from a soundtrack, from different soundtracks, except the last song, which was on like a special editions of Euthanasia, I believe, or maybe really, I think it was just yeah, previously unreleased, really. So, and it just made its first appearance on this one. So we're looking at 1995's Hidden Treasures. Have a cool little album cover there. Roadmap with some stuff on there. I think you can see, yeah, you can kind of see some of the track names on there and everything. But yeah, this with it being a compilation, I know a lot of people wouldn't consider this as a part of something I should rank. However, I think, all of this being material that's not on the albums, it's not like it's an album or a greatest hits with one or two bonus tracks. It's like all this is material not on any albums. So with that's kind of why I'm going to include this. I think the material stands strong by itself here. It stands strong enough to hold up against maybe some of these other albums that we've talked about and are going to talk about. So with that being said, we're going to talk about No More Mr. Nice Guy, track number 1. That is, of course, the famous Alice Cooper song, which is already awesome in of itself. And Megadeth here really kind of add a little bit of that aggression. I think this really fits, Dave Mustaine's attitude really fits this song to a T. And kind of being a little bit faster and everything. I think this is a really, really cool cover of No More Mr. Nice Guy. And one of the better covers I think they've ever done, really. And that's the thing about Megadeth. They've always seemed to really find covers, like do covers that suit their style, but also, shake it up a little bit to fit their style. And the tracks they've always chosen have really been the perfect choices of songs to cover. So, and I believe that one was off of the Shocker soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken. This second one is actually off the Super Mario Bros. Movie soundtrack. The live action, crazy movie. I remember I rented that on Blockbuster when I was a kid, and just wild movie, but I loved it, and I would still watch it today and laugh at it and have a good time. But the track that they've got on there is Breakpoint. This is really cool, and it very much sounds like something that would be off of Countdown to Extinction. Except it's got a little bit of that faster pace style going on there, which of course Countdown to Extinction did have some of that going on a fair amount of tracks, but this one, it really just has that sound to them, which makes sense. I mean, it came out that song came out like in 93, I think, so it would fit around that style, around that time where that kind of style of their production and everything was going, and their songwriting. So I mean, this is a really good song. I think it's fun, kind of an upbeat, bit of a thrasher there. It's got a really cool breakdown going on in it as well. So Breakpoint's it's a solid song. One I forgot about, actually, of how it went and everything. I totally forgot about it being on this album. So really cool to kind of revisit that one and get a good experience with that one. Definitely one I'm gonna be jamming to a little bit more than I used to. Then we get track number 3, Go to Hell, off of one of the Bill and Ted's movies, and this is a cool one too. I really like the lyrics in this one, and it's done really well. Also a song that sounds like it would be off of Countdown to Extinction, with it also kind of fitting that time frame of the same time period that they recorded that album. I think like a year after or whatever. But hell of a song here, no pun intended, really. But this one, I really like the solo from Marty Friedman in this one, and I like the vocal delivery of Dave Mustaine in this one. It's almost like a Sweating Bullets kind of sound, except not as corny, right? Like the delivery's better, I think. So really cool song with Go to Hell. I've always liked this one. And probably like it's between this one and another one that we'll talk about, but they're like my top 2 off here, no doubt. Probably this one I'd probably say is my favorite. Track number 4, Angry Again, off the Last Action Hero soundtrack, which is famed for having an awesome soundtrack with like Alice in Chains and several other bands on there. But Angry Again, that's one of Megadeth's best damn songs, I think, period. And that's awesome, being it came from a soundtrack, and I feel like it could have been even bigger of a song had it been on an album. And because I mean, even the Last Action Hero, that movie wasn't well received at all. Uh, but of course, the soundtrack is very highly praised in the metal scene, and rightfully so. I mean, this song has got such a hooky chorus. This one sounds like something maybe off of Euthanasia, I would say, and I just really love this song. Angry Again is such a good one. I love the main riff going on in it, and again, it's just that hooky chorus that that time period of Countdown to Extinction, and Euthanasia, and really, as we'll see, the next album, Cryptic Writings, Megadeth was on a roll with just these hooky choruses while really remaining heavy. And Angry Again is a perfect example of that. Again, I think it's one of Megadeth's best damn songs of the 90s and one of their best songs, period. Hell of a song. Then we got 99 Ways to Die, which is off the Beavis and Butthead Do America funny movie. But yeah, this one's cool too. I really like how upbeat this one is, and just a really cool chorus and everything going on here. I love the solo. They're kicking ass in this one, shredding all over the place, and yet again, Dave's vocal delivery, I think, really just on point on this song here, and this has always been one of my favorites off here as well. That'd probably be like the number 3 for me as far as these go. I mean, that one's a really catchy one, and also something that sounds like would be off Euthanasia. Then we get their cover of Black Sabbath's Paranoid, and this one I don't think this one was on the soundtrack. I think this was just on the Nativity in Black Black Sabbath cover album, which is pretty awesome. All kinds of awesome stuff on there. Typo Negative's on there and a bunch of other bands. But and they do a solid job on Paranoid. I mean, it's hard to mess up a Sabbath song, right? So they just kind of speed things up. I really like Marty Friedman's take on the solo. It just kind of a unique way, while still keeping, of course, in the same scale and everything. In the same, key as that solo, but he's just freaking tearing it up, with a lot of, he's doing tapping and stuff, throwing in some stuff that really makes that solo stand out, as opposed to like the original version. They're really, really cool, to see that they took that song that seems like you can't really change too much, but they just cranked up the speed and then changed up that solo and made it, really stand out. So awesome cover there with Paranoid. Then here's that number 2, probably. Sometimes it creeps up to my number 1 favorite. Track number 7, Diadems. And this, I'm trying to remember what soundtrack this one was off of. Something Nights, or something like Dark Nights, or something like that. It's not a movie I've seen. Maybe I need to, right? I don't know. But Diadems is such an awesome song. It's got this... Really sounds like one that hop off of Euthanasia. And I love that main riff. It's got the acoustic guitar going on in here, and it really sounds kind of dark, kind of eerie. And it kind of starts off a little bit slower. And, then when Dave Mustaine's vocals are kind of mirroring that main lick, that main acoustic lick, and then, things end up kind of speeding up and getting heavier as you go along in here. And this is just a fantastic song. Always have loved Diadems, and at times it creeps up as my favorite one off of Hidden Treasures here. But again, just that main riff and kind of the dark and eerie feel that this one has is just sends it over the moon for me. Then we close it out with probably my least favorite. Not even probably, it is my least favorite off here. The previously unreleased track, Problems, Sex Pistols cover. So I'm not the biggest Sex Pistols fan. I mean, I don't really like them very much at all. I don't know. I've never listened to a full album of them, but I've heard enough of them. They're okay or whatever. I'm not really a big punk music guy. That in Megadeth have covered them before with, Anarchy in the UK, which is solid. And they do a good job of covering this. It's solid. It's just, not being a big Sex Pistols guy. It's like, all right, this is not one I care too much for, not one I ever really go back to, but I don't hate it. It's a solid closer or whatever. And that's cool. It was previously unreleased. Even though I thought I saw somewhere where it was on like special editions of Euthanasia, maybe like a Japan bonus track or something. Maybe I'm wrong there, but it's an all right track or whatever, but one you kind of jam to. It's upbeat and everything, but just not one of my favorites. But I really do think it's cool that Megadeth, they kind of took those cover songs that they would do from their first few albums, and that they kind of took that idea and really shined. And with as far as I think these covers are better, except for Problems being a problem, right? But with No More Mr. Nice Guy and Paranoid and all that stuff, I think that's I think those covers are probably their best covers they've done, and I do, and that's coming from a guy who really, if you've seen the prior reviews of like some of the earlier albums, I've praised those covers they've done on those records, like Anarchy in the UK and Boots Are Made for Walking, all that. I think that's some pretty cool stuff. But I really think they just took that and cranked the notch up as far as that goes. And of course, all these are original tracks that were from soundtracks and stuff like that are just top-notch stuff that I think really could have been featured on some of their albums, especially Angry Again and Diadems and Go to Hell. Just some awesome stuff. And I think this is a really fun listen. It's not a very long listen. And in fact, I believe it's probably classified as an EP. But this is, I think it's an awesome listen and a must own if you're a Megadeth fan, because it's got gems all over it. It's got hidden treasures all over it, like the title suggests. So, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. What are what are some of the highlights from here on you, or even some of your thoughts on some of the movies that these were a part of, right? And of course, next time we're going to be taking a trip 2 years ahead, because this was 95. We're going to go fast forward to 1997 with Cryptic Writings. So stay tuned. We're almost out of the 90s with Megadeth, so we're going to keep on kicking it and roll with that next time. So guys, like, subscribe, and comment, and thanks for watching.